So Pam, welcome to our session. Welcome to
Hello.
Magic. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. What an honor it is to be here. So thank you for the invitation. Yeah, as you mentioned, my name's Pam Thomson, and I suppose I'll give you my official business title right now. I'm a franchisee of Menopause Experts Group, and also a menopause coach as well. Yeah, I'm here today to talk about changing careers during midlife. So I suppose, do you want me just to start off at where it all went in a different route for me?
That would be absolutely fantastic. So tell me
Okay.
what made you decide that you weren't happy in your career or you wanted to
Okay.
change?
So I'll be honest, I'm 44 years old. And when I turned 40, right? So I don't like to harp on about this when I turn 40 because I turned 40 during the pandemic, right? So the whole lockdown thing happened. I turned 40 and I was having an absolute meltdown, right, about getting older and things. And at the time when I was kind of going through, and I don't like to call it a midlife crisis, but in theory, I suppose that's what most people would call it. I kind of just it was really strange for me actually. I felt like I woke up one morning and I just did not have a clue what was going on in my life, and that was personal life, career, just everything in general. I just had no idea why I felt the way I felt. And I was very withdrawn, didn't want to get out of bed some days, felt really low, really depressed. And I had some kind of mental health issues in my 30s, but this felt different. It was just a different feeling. And I just didn't know what it was. And the easiest thing for me to do was to blame it on my career. I blamed everything that was happening in my life on my job. And I just, I thought this job that I once loved and was dedicated to, and I'd worked for the same company for at that point, I'd worked for the same company for 11 years. And, I'd set my sights on personal goals and everything in there. It just no longer fulfilled me. I just didn't know what it was that I wanted. So I was in a state of desperation, I suppose you could say, state of panic, in this feeling that was within me, and like I said, I blamed everything on my job, and uh, and I decided that, right, that's it. I can't do this anymore. I've got 25, maybe 30 years before I retire. I just can't continue on the way it was. And looking back, when I think about it, there was not anything, nothing had changed in my job. Everything was exactly the same. I was used to it. I could do the job very easily. There was parts of the job that I absolutely loved. And it was just a case of I didn't at the time, I didn't understand what was going on with my mind and inside my body. Everything was just changing. So I went down a path of like I say, grasping at straws. I felt desperate. I wanted to get out, and how was I going to make money, and how was I going to support myself, and how was I going to do everything because I couldn't just quit, right? I still had bills to pay, um, but what I've quickly realized, and I wish I'd done this earlier because I spent a lot of money going down a path that I shouldn't have gone down. I tried to be an affiliate marketer because I saw a video on YouTube and I thought that's what's going to make me a millionaire. And you get sucked in right to all these things.
And
Spent a lot
everyone's
of money.
willing to sell you these things as well, Pam. Let's be
They do.
honest.
They absolutely do. And what I quickly realized was that was that yeah, that would maybe get me some money, but what I was striving for was my purpose. I needed to understand why I was here, and I needed something that aligned with my values. So I spent about a good maybe 8 or 9 months doing something along the lines of trying to be an affiliate marketer, and it just wasn't me. It just wasn't ticking any of the boxes. And again, I kind of went into that rhythm of I don't know what to do, I don't know what I enjoy, I just don't know what I love. And that's when I figured out what a life coach was. I'd never heard of a life coach before, but I was Googling one night and I was like, okay, there's maybe something in this, right? And then I became obsessed with Tony Robbins, right? And I watched his videos, right, every night. I was like watching him. I was like, he's the only person that makes sense in the world and things, right? So I was doing a lot of that. And what I was actually was it was like it wasn't a I didn't necessarily hire a life coach. It was someone that I worked with, who I started to open up to, and I was like, I was like kind of like a mentor to me, and I was like, right, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I want to do, and then we started to just work through a process. And what I quickly realized during that as well was that because I was so desperate because I had this feeling inside of me that it was like a ball right in the center of my chest and I couldn't get rid of it. It was like an elastic band that just kept expanding and expanding and expanding. And I felt suffocated that I had to get rid of that. I had to figure out what I wanted to do, and that was going to take time. And I really had to clear my mind. I had to get straight on what my values were, what was my purpose, what did I really want to do. So we started to work through a process of looking at life in general and saying, well, what do you enjoy about the things that you do, and do more of that and less of this, maybe. And then we hit the nail on the head when we started talking about career, right? Because his question to me was, well, there must be something that you enjoy about this job, or you wouldn't still be here for as long. Like I said, I'd worked for the same company at that point for 11 years. And I was like, well, I love helping people. I like managing people. I like developing people. And he was like, so you like coaching people? And I was like, yeah. And then that's when he said, well, you could be a life coach. And I was like, what the hell is a life coach? Right. So I started doing again all this Googling and things. And that's, then I realized, well, that's what Tony Robbins is, right? He does all that.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, I could do that. So I started to work on myself, first of all, because, like I say, if you're in that state of desperation, you can't think straight. So you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make choices that are not measured. You're just going to jump into things with 2 feet, and it's going to take you, twice as long to get to where you want to be. So I started to work on myself. I started to work on understanding what I wanted. And I was doing like little bits, videos, YouTube here and there. But then I did come across like a life coach course. And you and I did the same course, right? So you know the one that I'm talking about.
Great.
And I signed up for that. And then once I started doing that course, which is a 12-week course, I learned so much about me and so much about what I was passionate about and what I actually wanted to do, that everything started. It was almost like a game of Tetris, like when you have to put all the blocks into the same piece. Well, my Tetris board previously was full of holes, right? And I couldn't fit the pieces in. And then all of a sudden, everything just went nicely into all these kind of like columns. So I kind of put the whole change of career thing on hold for a second because I thought, right, I'll do this course. It's 3 months. And I did that. And then I was like, then I got the bug, right, of education because I wanted to better myself first. So I started to go, right. So this was all whilst working full time, still doing the job that I was doing, when I was having my meltdown. And funnily enough, that job got better because I was in a better mindset, right? The job wasn't as stressful. It wasn't the problem. I actually started to love my job again and was like, actually, I could do this for the next 20 years and started to move on. Then I did a holistic modalities course after that because I wanted to learn more again about, like breath work and things and taking more care of myself and personal wellness and things like that too. And then I moved into NLP, which again just blew my mind. There was all these techniques that can change people's lives, and because if you'd asked me that 3-4 years ago, I would have been like, that doesn't work, but it genuinely did, and it worked on me first of all. So
I
once
can
I,
I just say NLP absolutely changed my life.
me too,
Changed my life.
absolutely, absolutely, and it made me, and it really did make me understand again how my mind works, and what I didn't know until only actually up until last year. So I finished my NLP course about maybe 2022. I finished NLP. And at the time, I thought my mind works differently. And last year, I was actually diagnosed with ADHD. So all my life, my mind has worked differently. I just haven't known it. But I wouldn't have come to that conclusion if I hadn't done NLP.
Yeah.
So, it really did make me understand myself more. But then that's when I started to take a serious look at, right, well, there's something here, there's something that I can do. But I don't think I would have got to that point if I hadn't made peace with everything that had kind of been going on as well, like in my life. So I made peace with my career, my job, what I was doing, and I had to so in NLP we talk about reframing a lot, right? So I had to reframe how I looked at that career, because if I hadn't done that, it wouldn't have allowed me to be in the position that I'm in today and be able to do the things that I'm doing today, because I still would have been in that place of desperation and thinking, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't work, I can't build a business. I would have been very, very negative constantly about things that I couldn't do, and I wouldn't have been able to focus on the things that I can do and have done since then. So I then started to become or build my own coaching business. And I
Oh,
did that, yeah. So I started to build my own coaching business, and very similar to you, I was looking for women who were like me. I was looking for, midlife, that don't know what to do with themselves, kind of lost themselves a little bit. And as I did that, and as I gained more and more clients, the topic of menopause continued to come up time and time again. And it wasn't until last year, start of last year, that I started to really research menopause. And that's when I started to then again link it all back and understood that I'm in perimenopause. I didn't know. I didn't even know what perimenopause was, right? I had no
welcome to
idea.
health.
I had no idea. I had like I mean, even the word menopause, like my mum always called it the change of life. Never once did anyone say to me menopause when I was growing up. So I had no idea. So I started to research that more. And then that's where I discovered Menopause Experts Group, who I'm now a franchisee with just now. So I then joined Menopause Experts Group because at the time, Menopause Experts Group were, kind of giving you a different, almost revenue stream of being able to go, right, here's, accredited menopause training. And the training was fantastic. It was so in depth that I started to understand my clients more and then understand me a little bit more, just the things that were happening inside my body. I understood that way more as well. And then that continued on with my coaching business until this year. So right all the way up to, end of 2023, I was working on my coaching business, as well as working full time. So I was doing coaching in the evenings, coaching at weekends, and again, it's easy for us to think that we can't do this. And I thought, I'm going to have no life. I'm not, I'm going to be spending all this time trying to build this business and doing all this, social media stuff on the side and having to work full time. And again, if I'd focused on the negatives, I would there's no way I would be in the position that I'm in today. So, I think if anyone's listening to this that thinks that, there's a whole load of things that you maybe have some of those beliefs that you can't do things, trust me, it is possible. You just have to believe that you can do it. So yeah, so up to the end of 2023, I was doing my coaching business, had a lot of clients, and some came back as well after the 12 weeks as well, which was fantastic. And I still stay in touch with some of my clients to this day. I took a break just at the start of 2024. And that was because my job, actually, my full-time job changed a little bit. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to focus on this because it deserves my attention. Because, like I say, I'd gotten over the hump of blaming my job for everything. And I actually enjoyed my job, and I had a sense of gratitude towards my job and my career and the people that I worked with and the company that I worked for, because, they allow me to live a life that I've, a very extremely grateful for, and I know how lucky I've been to be able to do that. So I took a little break from the coaching. And as I came back into the coaching as well, Menopause Experts Group have changed ever so slightly. So we're now they were offering franchises, and I thought, right, you need to think about what you're actually going to do. So in the summer, kind of had a little word with myself and said, right, okay, you can't continue on doing both, right? So what's the goal? What's the plan? Because I love, and I do, I loved both. So the plan really is that I was like, right, you're going to give yourself 18 months. If you're serious about actually going out on your own, doing your own thing, and doing something that you're extremely passionate about, which as I've moved into the menopause kind of space, I'm so passionate about helping women understand what they're going through, understanding menopause. And, you know, there's a lot of people talking about it now to this day, but still not enough. So, you know, I did start to really create a huge passion for that. And I thought, right, that's what I'm going to do. So set myself a goal and said, right, you know, by end of 2025, you're going to be running your own business full time, and you'll be able to look back on your career that you've had in the corporate world with fond memories. And that's exactly what I'm working towards now. So right now, still working full time, but a franchisee now of Menopause Experts Group, and we are branching out a little bit as well with Menopause Experts. So we are offering you know, women to come in. One, yes, have our fully accredited training, but also to be able to support women as well who are just like me, who wanted to change their career, who maybe are in the wellness space, who want to enhance their offerings, enhance their knowledge, enhance their businesses, and you know, give that option to women to be able, and men as well, because you know we have men coming too, but is to come in and you know be associated with Menopause Experts Group, build your business, help others during menopause. Think about it, it's not just, you know, it's not just symptoms that we talk about. We also have our MenoChef brand as well. We talk about food and nutrition. We're opening a cookery, you know, school and things like that's kind of you know, going on. So it's things that we want to then branch out to as well. That you know, that's the goal. So that's where I'm at right now, working with Menopause Experts Group, still on a part-time basis, right? But I've set myself a goal for next year. I'll be full time.
Yeah, I think that is so interesting though, Pam. So I'm going to ask you some questions now because I've listened and I've loved everything you've said. So I've written down some things that are kind of catching me, and I really want you to go through them. So you said when you had your kind of meltdown, because this is where a lot of the ladies in this group are, we're feeling lost, where, you know, this is where I was. So I'm 10 years ahead of you. I turned 50 during lockdown and had my meltdown. I think not being able to work for me was a big trigger for kind of, wow, I lost my sense of purpose. My kids had left home. I'd sold my business. I then couldn't work. I didn't earn any money. I've never not earned money. I started working in Dulce's shoe shop when I was 15. You know, so I did penny papers before that. So big thing. You said, and I think this is really interesting, you would still be kind of bouncing around, spending money doing things if you hadn't got your head sorted. And this is something I try and tell everyone in this group. It's like taking that time to take a step back. I spoke to you earlier and you heard this. I spent £7,000 on a course that was completely the wrong course for me. It wasn't what I needed. You know, you spent a lot of money doing the
I
affiliate
spent
marketing.
five. I spent
Yeah.
5,000.
How do we get people to stop? So if you were telling one of my ladies in the group, how do you get them to just take a step back and say, don't panic? Because I love the way you described it. It's that, I know the feeling. It's like, oh my God, I've got to do something. I've got to do something. I've got to do something. How do you get them to stop?
So the thing is that so when we're in that, so I always talk about state of mind, right? If you're in that state of mind where you just can't think straight because you're panicking, you've got anxiety, it's getting to the point where you just feel like you would do anything to get out of the situation. You really do have to stop and think, right, look at it, almost look at it as if it was one of your friends in this situation. What would you, if you were an outsider looking in, how would you advise yourself to go through this? Now, you would probably say, don't make any rash decisions, right? Don't quit your job, or like, think about it. And I know that everyone's situation is completely different, but don't quit your job. Think about what is it that you need to be able to, or what is actually, I'm going to rephrase that. What is it that you're looking for, first of all? right? Because my whole life has been chasing money, right? And this all stems from my childhood because I didn't grow up in a rich household, and I thought that having a certain level of a certain number in my bank account was success. You have to decide for you, what does success look like for you? What is happiness for you? Now money is not the topic. It's not the main thing. For the last 15 years of my career, it has been, because that's what I thought I was working towards. It's not. So I think but then I think as well, some of us need to get to this point of life to understand that it's not money that we take. We need money to pay our bills. We need money to live comfortably. But I don't necessarily need to be a millionaire. I want to make sure that freedom for me, right, is the big thing, right? I want to be able to move out of the city that I live in. I want to live in the countryside. I don't want to have a commute to an office 5 days a week. There's things that I want to have that sense of freedom to be able to do what it is that I want to do. And I want to do that and as I get older as well. So you need to figure out, what is it that you want? What does success look like for you? And then what you have to do is you have to break it down. Don't just say, right, I want to work for myself, and then think that you're going to get there from A to B in the matter of weeks. It's not going to be that. You have to break it down. You have to understand, well, what is it that you want to do? And then make sure that that thing that you want to do aligns with what you're passionate about, what your values are. Because if, like me, I was trying to be an affiliate marketer. I'm not an affiliate marketer, right? Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to go and sell things? Like, why would I want to do that? Right? So find something that you're passionate about, and then find where you fit into that topic, right? So again, for me, it took me a little while, right, to figure out that for me it was menopause and helping women in this stage of life. So figure out, and it will be a process, and you will go through things, and you may change your mind, which is why I say don't make any rash decisions, because you will probably change your mind 3 or 4 times. So
I
figure
love
it out what it
I
is.
absolutely love that as well, because I very much like you, I have changed what I wanted to do. So where I started and what I thought I wanted, as my life has evolved and my career is still changing, I've changed.
Hmm.
And I've had to realign with my values. And it's one of the things that I talk about to people is values. And they're like, what do you mean? And it's incredible because my values have changed since getting to this stage of my life. What I want is different.
100%. And it's natural though that is what's going to happen, because as we get older, life changes, right? If we've always had to, think about our kids and put our, and the kids grow up and then they move out, and I always say, I talk about this part of life. I used to think very negatively about this part of life. I used to always think, well, by the time you get to this point, life's over. And for now, I always talk about this part of life now being so positive, and not to be negative as well, because there's so many scaremongering stories that come out in the press, and society makes us believe that once we get to a certain age, we're over and done with. We can't learn new things. We can't try something new. It's finding that thing within you that's going to give you the confidence. It's going to give you the drive to say, actually, I'm going to do what it is that I want to do. And it's difficult because your friends are going to judge you, your family is going to judge you, you're going to get so many people saying, what on earth are you doing? But it's because they're scared that you're growing and that they're being left behind. That's the way that I see it now, right? So we need to be able to figure out what's going to untie that knot in the middle of your chest, that's really going to make you want to wake up every morning, get out of bed, and drive forward your life, right? You can literally change your life, maybe not overnight, but eventually you will get there. But you have to be very clear on what it is that you want, and you can pivot, that's fine. But think about what success means to you, what that means, and then break it down into small, achievable goals. Don't just think about what the end goal is. Think about, I kind of broke it down into like almost like a 10-step plan, right? And I'm at number 5. I'm halfway through that plan, right? So I've got a few milestones to go before I get to the point where I've finally achieved what it is that I'm looking for. But you have to just get clear on what that vision is. And if you need help to do that, then, someone like yourself is exactly, the person to help with that. But if you already have an idea of what that is, then, there may be something stopping you. And if there's something stopping you, you need to figure out what that is as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we all have this great, amazing thing of limiting beliefs, which stop us doing loads of crap in our lives we need to just get rid of. But
Yep.
right, we're nearly at the end of it. Before we go, because I absolutely love Meg. I think the Menopause Expert Group is fantastic. They started a few years ago, and they really are driving what I think is so essential, which is that kind of menopause education, as well as support for people who
Yes.
want to come into it. So, Pam, I would absolutely love it if you could just let our ladies know what kind of support Meg offers in case they
Yes.
want to get in contact if they're at work, or if they actually want to look at changing their careers. Are there options for them to actually come and talk to you and to come and talk to Meg about some support and how they do it? The floor's
So
yours.
absolutely. So Menopause Experts Group, we call what we call licensed champions. Okay, so basically what you do is you buy a license, a Menopause Experts Group license. It's a 3-year license, and that allows you to use the Meg brand. Now, what we do is we give you comprehensive menopause training. So it's very, very in-depth, from symptoms to psychological parts of menopause, as well as nutrition. So we go through that, you go through that training. If you are looking to build a business, menopause or women's health or wellness related, it's a fantastic complement to that. So you can use, we've got presentations that can be used. We can help support you, from coming up with ideas about how you can kind of, target if you've got a clientele of a certain age, how you can market that to your niche clients. We are offering some new courses within our license as well, which will help you understanding how to coach people, social media, all those type of things too. So there's a whole load of things that Menopause Experts Group can provide. If anybody wants to know more, my details will be available. Give me a call, drop me an email, book a call with me if you want to know more about that. But yeah, it's fantastic. Have a look on the website as well. But if you are interested, get in touch and I can talk you through everything. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more available.
Fantastic. So, Pam, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and sharing this with us today. For everyone else, I just want to say Pam is an inspiration because she is still in that period of change, which is why I wanted to get her on today and share it with you. You don't have to quit your job to start a new career in midlife. She's juggling everything and she's doing an absolutely fantastic job. I love Meg. I will drop all the information below so you have got it all. Thank you, Kate, for joining us live today. Really, really appreciated it. Thank you, Pam, for joining me live today. You've been an absolute treasure. I cannot wait to see how you get on with the Meg thing, and anyone that wants to take any advantage of anything, please do. For now, we will see you next week. So thank you very much, guys. Take care.